Stay with that story, British politics and UKIP and clinching their first parliamentary seat, and the leader is in the headlines.
Of course, I mean, it's really not been, it's been all over the UK press today. Nigel Farage has hit the headlines for saying something controversial. What's new? In an interview with Newsweek, he suggested that immigrants coming to the UK who are infected with HIV should not necessarily have access to treatment in UK hospitals. Now, he justifies this with the party policy of controlling not only the quantity of people coming to the UK, but the quality, so he says. Very controversial statement, which of course he was challenged on repeatedly by journalists. On live radio, he was not only challenged by journalists, but by a woman phoning in, and this woman living with HIV, a British national. She said, "I'm contributing to society, I'm getting treatment, what's the problem?" But even when confronted with somebody like that, he stuck to his guns. He said, no, the National Health Service is national, and it's not to be exploited by new arrivals. Now, this kind of discourse, of course, you know, went down like a lead balloon within the mainstream media, and especially within the charity sphere, associations who are supporting people with HIV. They said this discourse is extremely dangerous, and we're going back to the 1930s in Germany, that kind of thing. This association, Hope Not Hate, is saying that, you know, this needs to be stopped. The Labour politicians, the opposition, jumped on the opportunity to come out and demarcate themselves from this, to say that we are different, we offer something different.
We are the left.
Exactly. And MP Diane Abbott actually took the opportunity to write an editorial, a kind of pedagogical guide to other Labour politicians, saying, this is how you keep your voters from defecting to UKIP. And she says, you know, you need to listen to these people. You need to not make a knee-jerk move to the right in reaction to UKIP's success. You need to basically offer a real alternative.
She's a very well-known political commentator, isn't she? Very savvy, media-savvy woman herself. So we move on now to the US, and Republicans there have come in for criticism for using jihadi propaganda in their campaign videos. Tell us more.
Yeah, that's right. Now, Republicans in the US, and Democrats as well, they're gearing up for senatorial midterm elections. And some of them have got into hot water about their campaign tactics or their techniques, and certainly their media techniques. Now, Wendy Rogers, she's a candidate in Arizona. She actually used footage from the Islamic State organization, the footage that, of course, did the rounds in the media of journalist James Foley when he was murdered by the group. She used this footage, extremely controversial, in a video for her own campaign, suggesting that the US administration was not doing what it should be doing in terms of national security. Now, she wasn't the only one. Alan Way of New Mexico as well also used Islamic State footage in his own material. Now, he spliced that with footage of President Barack Obama, making this visual link between the two, again using this black Islamic flag and the current administration. This obviously was very quickly removed from the internet. They were only accessible via private YouTube links. They weren't in the public domain, but they were entirely removed from the site in the end. And of course, you know, it brings up this question in the media, which has been very present in discourse in recent weeks, of trying to avoid to give this jihadist propaganda a platform, whether it be in the mainstream media or in campaigning.
The whole idea that you'd be working for the IS group if you use it, if you circulate it.
Indeed.
OK, finally now, Olivia, one man is trying to get us to put down our smartphones and interact more with each other and the world, but he's chosen a very curious platform to do that.
Yeah, now this is either the most ironic Instagram account I've ever heard of, or it's someone who's really missed the joke, because a man called Matthew Daniel Siskin, he's a communications chief exec, has started an Instagram account called "We Have to Stop. We have to stop. We have to stop with our smartphones." He's basically saying we need to put them down. They've become an addiction, a crutch.
Estimated 1,500 times an average person can look at their smartphone every day.
Oh my goodness,
times.
I had no idea. That's horrifying. But this account actually testifies to that. I mean, here you've got the Obama family looking at their phones all at the same time. You've got entire families looking at their phones and ignoring the child in the picture. And you've got, US White House staff looking at their phones when they probably should be doing something more important. Now, the Instagram account's meant to, name and shame people who are spending too much time on their phone, basically suggesting we should get out there and interact with the real world. So he's saying no to smartphones. Whereas in China, they're just accommodating this new way of life by creating one city in China has created two separate paths on the pavement for those using phones and looking down, and those not using their phones and looking up.
Slow lane, fast lane. Olivia, thanks very much for bringing us Media Watch. Time now for Focus. It brings us to Somalia, where government